Good evening, and thank you for joining us on this week's edition of Technique. I'm your host, Brian Tranfalia, and this week we're going to be talking about 4 power exercises that are going to build your muscular endurance. Our first exercise this week is the push press. To start, you approach the bar and grasp it with a closed, pronated grip, about shoulder width apart. Then, you stand under the bar, placing it on your anterior deltoids and clavicles. You then will lift the bar off the supports, take a step back, and point your feet out about shoulder width apart. That is the starting position for all repetitions. Next comes the dip phase. In this phase, the athlete flexes their hips and knees no more than a quarter squat, keeping their feet flat on the floor, torso erect, and elbows under the bar. Next is the drive phase. In this phase, all the movements in the dip are reversed, and therefore, the hips, knees, ankles, and elbows are fully extended, therefore forcefully pushing the bar overhead of the athlete. After the drive phase, the downward movement phase begins, and here the athlete flexes his elbows, hips, knees, and ankles, gradually lowering the bar back on the anterior deltoids and to the starting position of the exercise.
Back on technique, I'm going to talk about the push jerk. So what you want to do to start off is have your grip pronated, your arms shoulder width apart, and you're going to want to put the bar on your anterior deltoids and clavicle. You're going to then want to lift the bar using your deltoid and clavicle, step back, and this is your starting position. The next phase of the push jerk is the dip phase. You're going to want to flex the hip and knees and slowly move downward into a squat position. Okay, the next step in the push jerk is to then drive after you reach the lowest point in the dip. So once you dip, you want to extend the ankle, hip, knee, and then the elbows overhead, and then you're going to want to catch the bar. Alright, after the drive phase and you catch the bar, you're going to want to slowly move the bar downward back onto your anterior deltoids and clavicle and back for another repetition.
Hello, and welcome to another installment of Technique. I am your more talented and more handsome host, Brian Tranfalia, and this week we're going to be talking power cleans. To start a power clean, the athlete should approach the bar with their feet shoulder width apart, grasping the bar with a closed pronated grip. They then squat down and pick up the bar. This is the starting position for all repetitions. Once in the starting position, the athlete will then begin their first pull. To do this, they approach the bar on the ground and lift it by extending their hips and knees, while keeping their torso in a neutral position and the bar close to their shins the entire time. Once the bar has passed their knees, then begins the transition phase. In this phase, the athlete will thrust their hips and knees forward, shooting the bar upward, swinging the elbows underneath the bar and catching it on their shoulders. The next phase is the second pull. In this phase, the athlete fully extends the hips, knees, and ankles, keeping the back in a neutral position and the elbows underneath the bar. This prepares them for the next phase, which is the catch phase. The next phase is the catch phase. In this phase, once the athlete's lower body is fully extended, they rotate their arms and back underneath the bar while simultaneously flexing the hips and knees. At the end of the catch phase, the athlete is fully extended, their hips and knees with their bar resting on their shoulders. And they are then ready to do the downward movement phase, which will complete the power clean. In this phase, the athlete
unracks the bar from their shoulders while simultaneously flexing their hips and knees to cushion the impact of the bar, and gradually lowering it down their body to the floor, to the starting position of the movement.
On the next installment of Technique, we're going to talk about the power snatch. And the way you want to start off the power snatch is with a pronated grip, a little bit farther apart than shoulder width. It's actually going to be the farthest grip you've had in the last 3 exercises. A way to measure this is to have the elbows fully extended, like this, and this is the distance you're going to want to keep your arms before you bend down and pick up the bar. So, in the next step, you're going to begin your first pull. Start by forcefully extending the hips and knees while keeping the elbows straight out and your shoulders just over the bar. This is going to be the first part of your first pull. Transitioning from the first pull to the second pull, you're going to want to keep your knees bent, and then as you lift the bar above your knees, you're going to want to thrust your hips and then keep your back arched. In the second part, in the second pull, you're going to want to rapidly extend the hips, knees, and ankles, keeping the bar close to your body, but also having your elbows fully extended and pointed out. As you are completing your second pull, you're going to want to have your shoulders and elbows fully extended, and once they reach their highest position, you are going to want to put your body under the bar and have your knees, hips, and ankles fully extended in an upright position. After you complete the second pull and then the catch, you want to stabilize the bar overhead and then gradually bring the bar down, back over your head, and simultaneously squatting down, bring the bar down to the floor, back to its original position. And that is it on the midnight hour.